Hello, everyone. It's your main man, Sports Live, with today's broadcast. Today's interesting topic is about winning games. In high school football, it's very important that schools have a winning tradition. Kids will want to play football there or other sports, and yes, it's important in all sports and everything. But today's broadcast is dealing with football through the 2022 season and stuff. There are several schools that, in the history of their program, however long that history is, that they have attained 500 wins or more in their road to victory and stuff. And that's not to say that they've won all games they've played. They have not. But some schools have been more successful than others with that. That's just given. You're going to have some schools that are good, some schools that are not. Before I get into that today, I'd like to ask that you please subscribe to my channel, like the content, hit the notification bell, so that way you can be made aware of whenever I'm doing a live broadcast or have any other video sports action. So with that being said, let's get started with this, shall we? First, Aniana High School, they have played 1,116 games. They've won 719 games. And they lost 364 games and tied 33. Next is T.R. Miller. They have played 1,069 games. They've won 718 games, and they've lost 331 games and tied 20 games. Number 3 is Fayette County. They've played 1,113 games, won 713 games, lost 365 games, and tied 35. Deshler is next. They've played 1,098 football games, won 694, lost 369, tied 35. Next is Deshler High School, with 1,098 games played, 694 games won, 369 lost, and 35 tied. Let's see. Next is Thomasville High School. They've played 1,074 games, have won 677 games, and lost 348 games, tied 49 games. Colbert County, 1,087 games played, 677 games won, 388 games lost, 22 games tied. Demopolis High School, 1,046 games played, 675 games won, 329 games lost, 42 ties. UMS Wright High School. These are all high school, so I'm not going to just say high school. I'm just going to say what the name of the high school is. UMS Wright, 1,128 games played, 673 games won, 429 games lost, 26 games tied. Enterprise, 1,044 games played, 672 games won, 338 games lost, 34 games tied. Benjamin Russell, 1,060 games total. They've won 665, lost 369, and tied 26. Next is Bessemer City. 1,099 games have been played, 660 games won, 405 games lost, 34 ties. Russellville, 1,050 games played, 658 won, 361 lost, 31 ties. Decatur, 1,045 games played, 657 games won, 361 games lost, and 27 games tied. Hartselle, 1,102 games played, 653 games won, 418 games lost, 31 ties. Gordo, 1,042 games played, 646 games won, 360 games lost, and 31 tied. And that was 1,042 games, 647 wins, 364 losses, 31 ties. There we go. Pickens County is next with 1,057 games played, 647 games won, 395 games lost, and 15 ties. Eufaula, 1,032 games total played, 646 won, 360 lost, and 26 ties. Next is Jackson, 1,049 games played, 637 games won, 371 games lost, and 41 ties. Guntersville, 1,068 games, 635 games won, 412 won, 21 ties. Etowah, 1,092 games total, 634 won, 431 lost, 27 ties. Next is Hamilton, 1,058 games played, 630 games won, 390 lost, and 38 ties. Alexandria, 994 games played, 624 games won, 341 games lost, and 29 ties. Jasper, 1,048 games played, 620 wins, 395 losses, 33 ties. Coleman, 1,061 games played, 618 games won, 410 games lost, 33 ties. Maplesville, 970 games played, 613 games won, 338 games lost, 19 ties. Laverne, 1,009 games played, 613 games won, 367 games lost, and 29 ties. Sidney Lanier, 1,081 games played, 608 games won, 434 games lost, and 39 ties. Auburn, 1,034 games played, 607 have been wins, 392 losses, and 35 ties. Elba, 1,003 games played, 606 games won, 370 games lost, and 27 games tied. Cordova, 999 games played, 605 wins, 369 losses, and 25 ties. Andalusia, 1,048 games played, 605 games won, 404 games lost, and 39 ties. Opelika, 1,030 games played, 603 games won, 409 games lost, and 18 ties. Sylacauga, 1,066 games total, 603 games won, 423 games lost, and 40 ties. Winfield, 1,019 games played, 602 games won, 369 games lost, and 48 ties. Brantley, 952 games played, 601 resulted in a win, 336 losses, and 15 ties. Lynette, 998 games played, 601 games won, 372 games lost, and 25 ties. Oxford, 1,028 games played, 600 games won, 384 games lost, and 44 games ended in a tie. Central Phoenix City, 1,000 games, 598 wins, 369 losses, and 33 ties. Anniston, 1,022 games played, 595 wins, 400 losses, 27 ties. Prattville, 1,026 games played, 590 wins, 409 losses, and 27 ties. Bibb County, 1,056 games played, 589 won, 429 lost, 38 ties. Athens, 1,047 games played, 587 games lost, or won rather, 424 games lost, 36 ties. Addison, 900 games played, 585 games won, 302 losses, 13 ties. Clay County, 955 games played, 584 won, 332 lost, 39 ties. Sweetwater, 973 games played, 584 wins, 364 losses, and 25 ties. Foley, 966 games played, 583 wins, 336 losses, and 27 ties. Walker, 982 games played, 582 games won, 367 games lost, 33 ties. Fort Payne, 1,014 games played, 582 games won, 402 lost, 30 ties. Murphy, 995 games played, 581 wins, 387 losses, and 27 ties. Fife, 901 total games, 580 were wins, 308 losses, and 13 ties. Yes, I'm moving down this list. There's still a few more, and I'll get to those. Greenville, 1,040 games played, 579 wins, 432 losses, 29 ties. Aliceville High School. Excuse me just a second. All right, Aliceville, 984 total games, 577 wins, 382 losses, 25 ties. Wetumpka, 1,077 total games, 576 were wins, 468 were losses, 33 ties. Lineville, 924 total games, 575 wins, 324 losses, and 25 ties. Piedmont, 1,013 games, 571 wins, 412 losses, and 30 ties. Leroy, 998 games, 567 were wins, 405 were losses, and 26 ties. Handley, 1,047 games played, 567 wins, 452 losses, and 28 ties. Cherokee County, 1,024 games played. Of that, 564 were wins, 431 were losses, 29 ties. Tuscaloosa County, 1,007 games played, 561 wins, 415 losses, 31 ties. Leeds High School in Leeds, Alabama, not the one in Birmingham, England, but in Alabama. 1,009 total games played, 560 wins, 421 losses, 28 ties. Opp, 994 games played, 559 of those were wins, 414 were losses, and 21 ties. Tallahassee, 1,005 games played, 558 wins, 423 losses, and 24 ties. Dadeville, 1,044 games played, 555 wins, 464 losses, and 25 ties. Linden, 921 games played, 554 wins, 337 losses, and 30 ties. Hazelwood, 841 total games, 550 wins, 270 losses, 21 ties. Dothan, 990 games, 550 were wins, 408 were losses, and 32 ties. Cedar Bluff, 908 total games, 549 wins, 338 losses, and 21 ties. Huntsville, 1,048 games, 549 of those were wins, 466 losses, and 33 ties. Reeltown, 863 total games, 546 wins, 302 losses, 13 ties. Shades Valley, no, we're not talking about the book. We're talking about the actual high school in Alabama. 1,011 total games played. 548 of those were wins, 429 losses, and 34 ties. Lauderdale County, 988 total games. 546 were wins, 417 losses, and 25 ties. Fairhope, 933 games total. 541 were wins, 368 losses, 24 ties. Hoover, 724 total games. Of that, 537 wins, 180 losses, and 7 ties. Sheffield, 1,035 games total. 535 wins, 467 losses, and 33 ties. Charles Henderson, 996 games total, 531 wins, 439 losses, and 26 ties. Hueytown, 1,005 wins, 527 wins, 446 losses, 32 ties. Scottsboro, 1,035 games played. Of those, 526 were wins, 471 on losses, and 38 ties. Albertville, 1,075 games have been played, 526 wins, 504 losses, 45 ties. Baldwin County, 1,015 games played, 525 of those were wins, 460 losses, and 30 ties. Valley High School, or Valley, is 937 total games. 524 of those were wins, 392 losses, and 21 ties. Escambia County, 1,031 games played. 522 of those were wins, 476 losses, and 33 ties. McGill-Toolen, 986 total games played. 521 were wins, 436 losses, 29 ties. Chilton County, 1,033 games, 519 wins, 486 losses, 28 ties. Georgiana, 950 games total, 517 wins, 410 losses, 23 ties. Haleyville, 959 games total, 516 wins, 420 losses, 23 ties. Let's see. Vigor, 806 games total, 514 wins, 280 losses, and 12 ties. Tarrant, 1,037 total games, 513 of those were wins, 484 losses, 40 ties. McAdory, 947 games played, 512 wins, 410 losses, and 25 ties. Glencoe, 982 games total, 512 wins, 445 losses, and 25 ties. Marion County, 1,017 total games, 511 of those were wins, 460 losses, and 46 ties. There's only a few more that's in the 500 club for wins. Fairfield, 981 games total, 505 games won, 450 lost, 26 ties. Clark County, 1,030 games, 504 wins, 471 losses, and 55 ties. Finally, last but not least, Dora. They have 976 total games played. They have won 500 games, lost 447 games, and tied 29. Yes, I know that was an extensive list, but this list is as courtesy of the Alabama High School Football Historical Society, where I got the information. I just figured I'd put it together in this broadcast and, hope that somebody would actually learn something from it. Now that we know which teams are in the 500 win category, there are several others which I won't go into that could get there this next football season. I don't know how far back these records go, but I know that they're current and up to date through the end of the 2022 high school football season. So, on that, I hope that you have a wonderful day with everything that's going on. I hope that, maybe you've learned something that you didn't know before. And I ask again that you please subscribe to my channel. Please hit the like button and hit the notification bell so you can make sure you're made aware of all my new broadcasts and my videos that will be going up. I thank you. Peace out.